anymore because the gates up above have fallen. The Terran gates have fallen in the Pleiades system, and the gates up above that, the Gaian gates in the density 3 system, have fallen. This matrix is falling, and you can't go vertical because of that unless you want to end up in a fall system. So knowing where the plane structures are in our literally right here at home, this we don't have to go all the way out into the middle of the galaxy to find. It's right here, right here on our own planet with us. There are certain interface points where we have the liquid aquifers, we have the crystal core, then there's something called the flame field, which is like a thermal vapor. Then there's a void space, then there are the aquifers. And whenever you see the aquifers, they come in at the 4th, 5th, and 6th Jaleesic layer in those templates. So they'll appear a couple times because you've got 4 of those templates now, right? So these are the deepest aquifers here. All of the aquifers will have these passageways, these natural passageways that are partially in the aquifer and partially in the lower mantle level above it. So there are doorways deep down there that you can learn to actually project through and eventually actually take your physical body through. There are what they call biomes in the middle mantle layer, and they are the crystal temples, and there are people who live there at certain angular rotation of particle spin. So we're not as alone on this planet as we think. There are negative aspects to some of these as well. They're not all positive, but fortunately there's a lot of positive ones. So up here, when we get up into the atmospheric ones, there are levels of the atmosphere, and again, we have where the Van Allen belts are, so you can tell which planes are in relation to where the Van Allens are, that kind of thing. So these are the projection maps. If we're going to learn how to first bilocate and then learn how to actually translocate and take our body somewhere, it's helpful to know where the heck we're putting it. Because when we get to the point where we can do those things, it isn't going to be like, hop in a taxi and say, hey, take me to plane 4 over there, right? It's going to be literally a visualization process, and at the speed of thought, your fields activate and bang, zoom, you're there. That's how fast you would actually go through the gate systems. You wouldn't go, okay, now I'm going to step in the elevator and I'm going in the gate. It doesn't work that way. It's instantaneous and moving at the speed of thought. So anyway, the planes maps are very helpful. They're going to become more helpful as we
Okay, what about the Great Pyramid? Because it contains aquifer, as you're calling it. There's a liquid part of it in which you can supposedly ascend through, and they used to use it as an ascension chamber.
They used to use it as a wormhole chamber. I remember that pit, the alligator pit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there more than one, though,
yes.
in the Great Pyramid?
In the Great Pyramid, I'm not sure. I remember a big one. I just have pieces of the cellular memory from times when I was there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was a female that hung around there on occasion until they killed me. I do have incarnational memory with that. It's not one of my favorite places. Actually, the real hot spot they haven't figured out yet is Saqqara. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's actually more under there, but there are direct portals under Giza. Gate 4 is in the Giza complex, and it used to. There was always a fight over that one. It was always
one of the Amenti gates.
Oh yeah,
it was. Yeah. So it is now interfered with.
Oh yeah,
and has been for how long?
Forever. It's actually where they moved the Ark of the Covenant passage in. When around 9558 BC period, when the final islands of the Atlantean continent had gone under, that's where the Ark of the Covenant used to come down. That's a portal passage that goes from here all the way up to Andromeda, and they literally shifted it into Giza. And then, of course, Giza became a real hot spot to try to have the other guys take it away from you and use it for wormholes, which there was always fights over it. There were ways to open it that would lead to the Ascension chambers, and there are ways to open it that would lead to the wormholes, and it was always very testy. But at this point, the Amenti gates fell in 2003 to wormhole control, the wormhole people control, which means the dark force, whatever you want to call them. I don't like to be insulting to them, but the self-serving ones, maybe, the ones, FAs. We just use that, fallen angelics, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, Giza is intense, but Giza's gate it's taken over. It's one of the Amenti ones that's taken over, and we've actually had to recently assist the Guardians in bringing a portion of the Ark of the Covenant passage, literally shifting it back using acoustic Merkaba mechanics back to its old Atlantean location, which is now in the water, but it can come, there's an area where it can come down through, so we had a trip to Ireland that had to do with that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so there is a portion of the Ark of the Covenant passage that is still secured, and that means there's a part of the race morphogenetic field that is still secured, that is not completely under control. If you read in the Voyagers books, it explains the things that are supposed to happen with the Ark of the Covenant and all of that stuff. Well, the blue flame that was coming down from Terra is now reversed, which means it's carrying the opposite, the reversed coding, which goes with the wormholes, because of what happened up in density 2 and density 3 in the last several years. So right now we are doing the silver flame activations, where the Guardians have pulled a portion of the race morphogenetic field, angled it, because it's still in the core, but they've angled it. So it's the passage that goes with it is no longer coming down there, so it won't receive the blue flame. It'll receive a higher level one that is called the gold and silver one flame, which is the one that actually allows the activations that will allow for the transharmonic as opposed to just harmonic activation of the fields in Ascension.
Okay.
So it's been very complex, like the
Yeah,
dynamics
okay, no, but that's good. That's very good
Excuse me.
information. I